One, and welcome to Photoshop Party number 5,453. What it seems like to me anyway. Hopefully we'll have some fun today. My Wacom tablet's not playing with Zoom right now, so I'm going to be going to my mouse and see what happens. We have a couple of things we're going to try and do today. Mostly extractions and putting them together on a composite image. Let me share my screen real quick and I will show you what we're looking at doing. So we'll hide that, goodbye. Hide that, goodbye. Bring up Photoshop, Bridge. This is what our final product is going to come close to looking like, I hope. Just in case I have pre-cut the images out, we'll see what happens. A couple of them are pre-cut so that you guys don't have to sit here and watch me do them all. But we'll start with Lori, and everybody can see my screen right now, correct?
Correct.
All right. I'm doing it right today. Yay. And hang on. Okay, Larry's having trouble getting in today. I don't know. I can't help him, so I apologize, Larry. This one actually turned out to be a very easy extraction. Some of the details are a little bit tougher, but with Photoshop 2020, the extraction tools are so much better. If you hit either lasso, marquee, or magic wand tool, or any of the W's, magic wand, quick selection, or object selection, it brings up the select subject in the top toolbar. You could go to select and mask right away, but I like to do select subject first. So I'm just going to click on select subject, give it a second. It takes a very long time, and as you can see, it's already selected. You can see it's done a fairly decent job. I'm going to zoom in on the hair. Not perfect, but it's a good starting point. And it extracted the hole right here between her arm and did a great line going along her arms and her legs. So I'm going to go to select and mask. There's a couple of ways to do it. I'm always on the extraction tools, so I just use the top toolbar. Or you can go to the top where it says select, drop down to select and mask. Or if you want to do the keyboard shortcut, you can use the keyboard shortcut. That one's a long one to remember, so I don't even bother. And I need to hide you guys so I can see what I'm doing over here. And I'm using a white backdrop for viewing. You can go to black, you can go to overlay. Marching ants to me doesn't do anything, but for this one, she's going to go on a little bit lighter background, so I'm going to use a white background. And I'm going to zoom in. If everything works right, hit Z for zoom. And I'm going to take the Refine Edge brush, which is the second one down. I just hit the R tool for Refine Edge. And I think the higher the resolution of the image, the better it's going to do at extractions. So I'm just going to go along her hair with the Refine Edge brush. And it looks like it's done a pretty decent job already. But just to get some of the strays to make it look like a real image. And you can see along the neckline where the shoulder comes up, it made a little white spot there. I'm going to change to B for brush, make it a little bit bigger, and paint it back in. What happened with the Refine Edge brush is it looked there and said, oh, that looks like an area that I want to fix. And so it fixed it, and I didn't want it to fix it. I'm going to go to the Refine Edge brush again, which is R, and just go across the top of her head. And you can see it's starting to lighten up the very top. So I have to go back with the brush and brush it back in again. And then back to Refine Edge R and just take out the background from the hairs. And what I'm doing is I'm not painting over the whole area. I'm just going right on the very edge, which allows it to say, hey, this part doesn't look right. So the dark along her right, our left shoulder, if I go in between the hairs with the brush, it says the light and the dark are where I need to fix it. And if I change from white to black, you can see a little bit right here along her left, our right, and then right along there.
Hey, Michael, this is Tracy. So what you're doing is you're removing all those little marching ants?
I don't work with the marching ants there.
But when you're painting over, in essence, you're removing all those little crazy things that have gone in their own direction, so to speak. It's
right.
kind of like, it's not in the straight lines.
Yeah, you can see if I bring the marching ants back, let's zoom. You can see that they've taken a lot of them. So I'm going to go back to white again. And there's back to the, double click on it so it goes away. Go back to my Refine Edge brush. I bring out the hairs just a little bit more.
So I guess what my question is, that I'm looking at the screen, how do you know if you're successful or not?
By looking very closely. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Oop, too far. There we go. If I go back to my white again, you can see pretty much what is selected and allowed to come through. So if I go to marching ants again, you can see some of this is not selected over here. I don't know if you would want all the strays in there. That's just personal preference, I guess.
Right.
And one of the things I notice is if I take the contrast from 0 to, let's say, it's at 69%, you can see what it did. It just crunched everything. So I'll take the contrast back down again and it softens it back up again.
Okay, so you find it better to have the contrast at 0 then? I
take the contrast to 0. Yeah, 0 shows me more of what's going on. Okay. And again, right in this area here, if I hit B for brush, I can brush back in what Refine Edge keeps taking out, and I don't want it taken out.
Michael?
Yes.
Look at the top of her head.
I was just going to say that.
See the light brown up there? I think it didn't take it when you brushed it back in. Because it looks like it's a different color of brown.
Okay, right here?
Yes.
Okay, that is actually her brown, because if I brush it in, that's what it is. And you can see the area.
Well, maybe it's from the light hitting it on.
It could be from hair light.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I need to take that out. So B for brush, I'm gonna hold the Option key and just get rid of the little gray area I painted in with the Refine Edge brush. But yeah, that is actually the color of her hair up there.
And Michael, is there an option to control the feathering of that brush, or
if I right click on the brush, you can bring up the size, the hardness, and the spacing. So if I bring hardness to 100%, that works great for working along these lines right here, the hard edge, like right there.
Okay.
And normally I'd be working with my Wacom tablet while I'm doing this.
Yeah, I know, I hear you.
But Zoom is not playing with it today. And I like, if I'm doing a straight line, I like to hold the shift key down and go down, hold the shift key, and it will cause a straight line. However, if you're holding the option key and you try to hold the shift key, it goes back to positive.
Okay.
So you can't hold a straight line using the takeaway.
Okay. And what do you find is the softness of a brush for the hair? Can you?
I normally, for the hair, I'm normally at zero hardness.
Okay.
That's what I do. It all depends. And you can also click on the smart radius and take it up like 2 pixels. And then also I have decontaminate colors down here selected at about 14%. So if I change from white to a black background, you can see go into zoom, see one little spot right here that I need to fix. So I'll go into the brush tool. I'm in the minus right now. I'm going to go really small and just paint that in.
So minus is bringing it back to what it originally was, and then plus is?
Minus takes away. So if I wanted to take out her eyes, I'm weird, I know.
Okay.
I have minus, and that paints her eyes out.
Got it.
And I output to a new layer with layer mask on the right hand side. And then I also have remember settings checked. So the next time I go to it, it will keep the same settings for me, except it gets rid of smart radius for some reason. I don't know why. And I keep having to tell it to do it. If I have a little bit of extra along the side here, like a white line, sometimes if you hit shift edge and go minus, it will shrink everything inward. I don't use the feather and I don't use smooth on the global refinements. So new layer with layer mask, click OK. And what that does, it puts a new layer up there, turns off the background layer. So if I put a layer between and fill it with white, or if I fill it with black, you can see if there's any areas of concern.
What are the shortcuts for filling the layer with black or white?
I'm sorry, we covered that in a previous thing, and I'm not going to tell you again.
That's why I asked, because I know you covered it before.
Okay. The easiest way to remember it is you go to the paint colors, the background color and foreground color on the left-hand side of the toolbar. Foreground color is on the left-hand side. On a Apple keyboard, Option is on the left-hand side of Command. So if I want white background, I hit Option because it's on the left-hand side and Delete. Option Delete. If I want the foreground or background color, I hit Command Delete.
Ooh, that's a nice way to remember.
And if you screw up and do the wrong color, just do the opposite. So yeah, I did black. I don't want black. I wanted white. So I just do the opposite. It doesn't hurt it if you do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. That's how I remember the shortcut. So, so basically she's cut out and ready to go. I would save her, Command Shift S, keyboard shortcut. Lori PSD, she's already there, so I don't need to save her. And then hit Command W, don't save, and she's gone. Do you guys want me to cut out another one or just start putting them together?
Assembly.
Assembly?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that'd be fine.
Cool. I have a background, one of my backgrounds in my studio. I'm going to put these guys on. And what I did was did dark and light and center on it just to bring it down.
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
Okay.
You opened up Pandora's box there, buddy.
I always do. Let me get rid of that. Gone. I don't have my Nik filters open, but I go to Filter, Nik Collection, Color Effects 4. Hey, why'd you go? Nik Collection, Color Effects 4. And I have Darken, Light, and Center. That one is like wicked cool. So if you want the border darker, you take the border luminosity slider, slide it to the left where it goes darker.
Okay.
Or lighter, depending how you want it. I want it a little bit darker.
Kind of like a vignette.
Like a vignette. I can take the center up. I'm going to bring it down a little bit so they don't jump out. And you can adjust the size. So let me take this to extremes right now. And you can watch as I do center size, how that makes your center size, the lightness in the middle go.
Okay.
I lost my train of words. That's okay.
Gradient.
Yep. It makes a good vignette for you. And if you want to move your center spot, there's a thing called Place Center right here. So you click on that and it brings up a little marker. And if I hit up there, that's where my center spot's going to be.
Oh, okay.
Or if I want bottom right to be my center spot. So if you have a subject in there and you want a vignette around them, you just click on where you want them.
Okay.
And Command or Control Z, the oops key, works very well. And you can also turn it off. So like my upper right area is really dark. So I add a control point and click in the upper right and it turns it off. And you can set the size for how much you want to turn it off.
Okay.
And I don't want it turned off, so I'll delete it. Click OK, and it will put it up on its own layer.
Cool.
And it puts it up on its own layer.
There.
There we go. Got it. And if you want to make it merge with the background, you can go up to the drop-down menu up here, find Merge Down, or keyboard shortcut Command E. Command E works wonderful. It's really fast. Command or Control E will merge that layer down. Questions? Going once, going twice, moving on. Okay.
Hold on, Michael. I do have a question. Do you have a short key cheat sheet?
Yes. I have a postcard that I made for everybody that takes my class. They get a postcard with the cheat sheet. Mel, you're showing yours. However, okay, here's the deal. I am going to make a one-time offer as long as you guys promise not to give this out to people. I am going to have you send me an email requesting the keyboard shortcut postcard.
Okay.
And I will email it to you.
And next time I see you, buddy, I'll give you some bottles of wine. How's that?
Ooh.
Husband is a winemaker.
Really?
Yeah.
Hot dang. All right.
Tracy just became our new best friend.
Yes, she did.
She's figured out how to get anything she wants.
Well, if you've seen my wine collection, I do work for wine. I work for a couple of wineries and I have cases in my garage. So I love doing it. Okay, back to the drawing board. I'm going to go to Bridge. And let's start with Lori because we cut her out first. To put her in the image that we're going to do, I am going to right click and you see place in Photoshop. Everybody see where I'm at? I right click on the picture and it says place in Photoshop. Yes, no, can
Yes.
see? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's
Okay. Half the time I place in Photoshop, it will say, I'm sorry, I'm busy. Come back later. So it does do that to you, and it's not going to do it to me today. Okay, she's dropped in right in the middle, but what I'm going to do is hit the V for move, keyboard shortcut V for move, and just drag her down to the bottom. Go back to bridge. We're going to go to Danny. And do you want Danny below, or you want him behind her, correct?
Yes.
Yes, she's kind of the lead agent and he's the secondary agent. So
Okay, so what I'll do is I will click on background, which will make the background active. Go back to bridge, go to Danny, right click, place in Photoshop, V for move. Now, is he taller than her or shorter than her?
he's a little bit taller than her.
Command T to transform.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to hold the Option key. That's probably a little too much.
Yeah.
And we now have him behind her. The next person up will be Ashley. And why? Oh, I know why. Okay. You'll notice when I have, like Corey, you have the checkerboards behind him.
Right.
Ashley, which is a PSD file, has a white behind her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to open it up on its own layer just to show you why. I added a white underneath so that I could see the extraction that I did.
Okay.
So that's why you have that. So I want to make sure her layer is selected. Move tool is selected, V for move, and I'm going to drag her to the top. I'm not letting go. And once the tab opens up, I will drag her down. And she's really small.
Holy moly.
The reason why she's really small, because I placed them with her, I didn't place her. So let's Control or Command Z. And we're going to go back to bridge, right click, place in Photoshop. She's going over here, and I'm going to, it's a smart object layer that opens up. So I opened up the smart object layer, which is that file, turned off the white. I'm going to close it, which asks me to save it. I will save it with the white turned off, and now she is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And let me see her placement in there. She's behind him. So let's go back to here, and we'll drop her down a layer, which will put her behind. And last but not least, we want Corey is going to go behind Lori. So you have Corey and Lori. I selected Lori as my layer. He's going to go behind her, so I'm going to put him right above Danny. And you'll notice as I'm switching between programs, I'm hitting Command Tab or Control Tab on a PC. That will take me between programs back and forth. So I'll go back to Bridge, click on Corey, right click, place in Photoshop, and perfect, he's right above her. And is he is taller than her, I take it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just take it straight up. About right there, Tracy?
That's probably accurate, but what I did on the other one is I shrunk him down just a little bit because he's so dominant in the photo. He is a big guy, but because she is the main focus, I kind of shrunk him down a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. We'll bring him down a little bit, but.
Yeah, not much, but just to make it realistic.
And when I went to shrink him down, I hit Command T, Command or Control T. With the new version of Photoshop, you do not have to hold the Shift key unless in the upper toolbar, you have a lock up here to maintain aspect ratio. If that is turned off, you hold the Shift key while you're making your change, and that will maintain the ratio. If it's turned on, you don't need to hold the Shift key anymore. So, and it will remember the last time you did it. So if you can't figure out why you have to hold the Shift key every single time, you just have to hit the lock up there and make sure that aspect ratio is kept. Okay. To me, there's a couple of things I need to fix here real quick. Number one, Corey is behind her and there's no shadow whatsoever.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to add a layer between Corey and Lori. Corey is the one on the right, Lori is the one in the middle. A new blank layer. I'm going to hit my B for brush. Make sure I have a soft round brush. A little big, but that's okay. We'll make it smaller by holding the bracket key, right bracket key or left bracket key. The bracket keys are right next to the P key. Hit the left bracket key and that will make it smaller. The right bracket key makes it bigger. There's also a keyboard shortcut for making it softer or harder, holding Command, I'm sorry, on a Mac, it's Control Option. You can make it smaller or bigger, dragging it left and right, and hardness up and down while you hold the Control Option. And I'm not sure, I don't remember what the keyboard shortcut is for a PC, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit default colors, which brings up the black as my primary color. I'm going to change, and the fastest way to hit your default colors is not go over and hit this itty bitty little spot in your toolbar. Hit D for default. D for default.
And if while you're on the paintbrush?
While you're on the paint, or anytime you're in any tool.
Okay.
Let me bring up my type tool. If I hit D for default, it's going to change it back. If I hit X, it exchanges the colors from foreground to background.
Right. Okay.
So get rid of the type layer because I don't want it. And I'm going to go back to brush. So default is black. My opacity right now is set to 100%. If I paint it with 100% to put a shadow in there,
yeah,
it ain't going to look good.
Mm-mm.
So what I'm going to do is Command Z, Control Z. I'm going to take the opacity to, let's say, 10% to start with. And to do that, you don't have to go up to opacity and do the slider up there. All you have to do is hit the 1 key. 1 will change it to 10%. 0 will put it at 100%. If you want, say, 5%, hit 0.5 and it'll bring in 5%. You have to hit the numbers fairly quickly together. And one more thing I'm going to do so I don't paint outside the box, which I don't think I will anyway, is I am going to Command or Control click on the thumbnail for Corey, which is the guy on the right. If I Command or Control click, what that does, it makes a selection of him. So if I wanted to paint outside the lines, let me go up to 100% so you can see it. Black. I can't paint outside the lines. So let's go back to 10%. And I'm just going to kind of soften it in, and it only goes on the layer that I want it to. And just kind of build it up. In fact, that's, yeah. Probably closer to her arm, you want a smaller brush and just kind of smooth it. And the cool thing about a brush is with a soft edge brush, you don't have to paint exactly on him. You could paint like right at the edge of her arm, and that puts in the shadow for me because it goes out past the area that you're painting if it's soft. So hit Command D, maybe just a little bit more right at the elbow. And then also where Danny is in front of Ashley, I think I need just a little bit of shadow along his right arm. So I will click on him and add a layer above him. Command or Control click on his thumbnail, which selects him. So now if I paint right in, it just adds a little bit of shadow there and kind of hides it. There's no shadow needed. Looking at directional light, I think it's coming from the left to the right. So there's no need to put a shadow under Lori right here. Command D to deselect. All those keyboard shortcuts. And now we'll go to the text tool. Let's go above here. And we'll just type in the best team. And obviously we don't like that color. How about sample this color right here? So we'll go B for brush, sample that color, back to the text tool. I could have done it this way. Click OK. I don't like the font, so we'll change the font. You notice I haven't selected the font to be doing all these things that I'm doing to it. And I made my font sizes really big so that I can see them because I am blind. And you just pick a font that you like, which there's so many. Get out of those. I'm gonna pick up this one just for fun. And we're gonna raise it up just a little bit. Let's go to 48 because that's a good round number. And I'm gonna go to the Properties tool. So click on Properties. And you can make them taller. You can make them wider.
Where's that little gem at?
I'm not telling you. I already done showed it. You're going to have to watch the rerun and make sure you become a subscriber so that I can get lots of likes and make money off of this. Right here is the properties. It's at the bottom of mine. Or you go up to Windows, Properties,
Okay.
click on Properties, and that brings up your character properties. You could also go to Character, and a lot of it's there too. You can change everything in there, but everything's in the Properties panel now with the new version of Photoshop, so you can change it. If you don't like your font that you're using,
Wow.
I hear a question coming.
Yeah, it's Tracy.
Go for it.
That's pretty good, Michael. Do you need to go around the individuals and soften it so it doesn't look like so they're cut out? Or
You can.
Okay.
Let me
What
get
do you
rid
do?
of.
What do you do for that?
What do you do for that?
Ooh,
Hello. Being that this is, oh wow. Let me change her to rasterize so she's not a smart object. What I'm going to do is I am going to change my mind. I'm going to leave it as smart object. I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and that will do just her layer only because it's a smart object. And I'm going to take the blur down to say 1.2 pixels, which softens her edge, but it also softens everything on her. So I'm going to go to the mask that's there, and I'm going to change it from white to black. So I'll hit Command I to invert it. And that took the blur off of her. And then I'm going to take my brush, B for brush, make it small, make it big so I can see. And along her sharp edges right here, I'm going to paint with white, which will just paint in that blur that we just put in there.
I'll be damned.
And take it along there. And if it's not strong enough, it's a smart filter. So guess what? Double click on Gaussian blur, and it brings it up again. I just brought it to 341 pixels, and you can see it just totally mushed it. But if you want more blur, take it up to like 6. And it's very subtle, so you don't notice it.
Right, right.
And you can do that with the background as well. The background may be too sharp because that's how I did it. Okay, we'll add a blur to that. Let's make it a smart object. And I'm going to do about the same amount of blur on there we just did with the Gaussian blur. So I'm going to Command or Control F, which brings up my Gaussian blur again.
Okay,
Command F is redo the filter.
right. That I did remember.
In fact, I think they changed it a while back, Command F to find instead of redo the filter. So you have to go into your preferences and change it back again. So it's just ever so slight of a change there to make it a little different. And if
Question,
answer.
why does it need to be a smart filter instead of just a filter?
If it's just a regular filter, I cannot go back, double click on it, and change it.
Well, if it's a mask filter?
No, it's the filter strength is what you're changing.
But if you put it on as
a regular, let's do this.
Okay.
I'll do Corey. I'm going to make him, I'm going to rasterize him. So let's change it from smart object to that. I'm going to do.
Michael, was Corey a smart object?
Yes, I just changed them from smart object. When I place in Photoshop, when I go from bridge and place into Photoshop, that will create a smart object for me.
So it automatically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have to do it later on.
Okay, got it.
So let's go.
I guess what I was asking is adjustment layer. So, I mean, you could do an adjustment layer instead of a smart filter, right?
Adjustment layer. There is no blur filter for an adjustment layer.
Oh.
So that's why I use the smart objects like that.
Oh, okay.
The smart objects do take up a little bit more room, so you got to be careful of that. They take up more RAM or more memory, but they're adjustable, and you can add different filters on there if you wanted to.
Michael,
Yes.
how would you address his? See, that'd be Danny's left hand.
The left hand on which person?
Danny.
That would be the second guy right here?
Yep.
Probably what I would do is probably the easiest thing to do. Let's go ahead and go on to where we painted the shadow on. B for brush, D for default, 10%. And I just kind of bring it down a little bit so it doesn't stand out.
Okay.
It's in the shadows back there, so it looks semi-normal. Let's see if I move tool. I just selected my move tool, V for move. I'm gonna hit my arrows so you can see them move over a little bit. And I'd probably move Ashley over a little bit to go with it. But just toning it down kind of takes your attention away from it.
Yeah.
Boy, you guys are putting me to the test today. You're killing me.
I thought you worked for your money.
Hey, Michael,
Yes.
can I ask a question about those properties? I know some of the typefaces you get have some other properties. Can you get to them with that property section?
Yes.
Aha.
Like glyphs and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay. Let me bring up, add a text tool back up there. T for text. Let's go to Trojan color. And I'm going to just type in team. Close that. Minimize, close, goodbye. Okay, you can go to properties and you can make adjustments in there as well. Trying to remember how to do this because it's been so long. Okay, let's minimize that. Save that, go to properties, and it should be able to go to changing different things in there. And I don't see where my, there it is, stylistic sets. I can change the color of this. We'll go to the blue. So what you do is you click on the little A under type options, and that brings up your colors for glyphs, and you can change it. The one thing about changing it is whatever color is selected that's at the top will be the color that you selected. So if I wanted to go to taupe taupe won't show up because the color on top is ochre, whatever that is. And then above that, you got blue. Now we go to taupe. So you can change that using that little bitty A right here.
Oh, wow.
It's called stylistic sets. Okay, you're killing me, folks. You're killing me.
Michael, where did you get the properties bar?
Okay, I have it set up right here at the side of my layers panel, or go to window
That's what I thought. Mine didn't.
to properties,
That okay.
and that brings it up. And once you just hit the right arrow, it will minimize it and put it right next to there.
Thank you.
Or you may have to drag it to put it in with the other tools there. You can also close it as well, which I don't want to do because I like having it. It works. That way I don't have to go through all the hassle of going up to letters and figuring out all these different things and stuff like that. So. And let's make it 76. There we go. And of course you have to have a drop shadow on there. So I'll add a drop shadow. And did you know with the drop shadow, you can just drag your drop shadow around?
No. Oh, that's worth a bottle of wine right there.
Hello! Pinot Grigio or Pinot Noir, whichever one you like.
We're going to fill up his wine cabinet today.
Yeah. So you can do that as well. If you do a stroke on there, on text, it kind of does something a little weird. Let's do purple so it shows up.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah. And size, of course, will make it disappear. And you can do all kinds of weird. Just get in there and play with the styles in here and just have fun with it. I mean, that's what life is all about. I guess I'm on the computer too much. I play with it too much, and my wife, never mind. She doesn't think I pay enough attention to her. I don't understand why.
You're not alone.
We're all in the same boat, and she's right. I do spend way too much time on the computer, but it's fun. I enjoy it. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions on this one?
No, I think
Thank you.
Enlightened us enough for one day.
I think so. Ira, I'm going to put yours on hold for now.
No problem.
That one, we're going to have to do a quick mask and just paint out what we want. And I'll have to show you how to do that later.
Right. Okay, no problem.
Cool. One more thing is what's called the claw. You hold Command Option Shift on a Mac, Control Alt Shift on a PC, and the letter E. And if you're on the top layer, what that does, let me turn off all the other layers. All the other layers are turned off. It made a copy layer of everything below it and put it into one layer. So now you have just that layer on top. Hit the Move tool, and you can see it's layer all by itself. If you hold the Option or Alt key, you can turn the layers on and off. So if I wanted Lori by herself, hold the Option or Alt key, click on the eye for her layer, and it has just her layer.
Is that because those are smart layers or?
No, any layer. My text layer.
Okay.
Is not a smart object. It's any layer you do that with, and you turn it on, turn off all the other layers, or turn on the rest of the layers just by holding the eyeball. If you make a bunch of changes to it, such as I just turned off all the other layers, turn on this one, turn on this one, turn that, So now we have our shadows where we painted in our shadows. And if I hold the Option or Alt key, it only turns those on.
Okay.
So I like speed, so I'll just go and slide it all the way down. Just holding my mouse and dragging across the eyes will turn them on or off.
Cool.
So that saves a little bit of time. I'm all about saving time because at 5 o'clock I turn the computer off and go home. Oh wait, I'm already home. Any other questions?
Nicely done.
Thank you. Next Tuesday, we'll have Dan Holmes talking about Lightroom again.
Okay.
Next Thursday, send me your requests for this. This came as a request. Ira sent his as a request. If you got things you want shown how to do different things, let me know. Otherwise, I'll show something that I have no idea what I'm doing.
And then Michael, your YouTube channel is it Michael Collins or what do we have?
Let me see if I can get to it real quick. YouTube, sign out of PPC. And sign in to me, Michael Collins. Hopefully it doesn't show my password. And you can probably find it under Michael Collins or images.michael1@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can also find quick links on the PPC website on the last tab where it says 2020 events or something like that. That last tab will have the links to every one that we have done so far.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, super.
Yeah, right there. Click on that, and there are
There are the parties.
all the way down.
Oh, wonderful.
Are those gonna be there indefinitely?
What's that?
Are those going to be there indefinitely?
For a while.
Okay, good.
Until I pitch a fit with PPC and tell them to take them down.
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea to copy and paste those links and put them someplace.
And I've got it in a Word document on my desktop. Should you ever get lost and can't find them on the PPC website, happy to share. Just remember, you guys need to give back as well. So if anybody's asking for help sometime, give them help.
Yep.
Any other questions? Yes.
I had one question, quick question. At one point, I think you showed us how to take an image and bring it up on the screen twice. So one is going to be the full screen, or is the image full size, and then use the other one to zoom in and out. So as you're working on the zoom section, you can see how the impact is.
Go to image, duplicate.
Okay.
I think. Background, copy number. Yes. Let me close this one out. Don't save. Go to Window, Arrange, Tile Vertically. Now we have two images.
Ah, thank you.
Yep. And if you get stuck here and go, uh-oh, just go to Window, Arrange, Consolidate all to tabs. And that will take it back to one.
Great. Thank you very much.
You betcha. That's a bottle of wine from Bruce. Next. And I do take tequila as well, so
Ooh,
I'm not
now
proud.
we're talking.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions before we sign off? Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'm sorry about the confusion with Zoom when we sent out the extra reminder email. It screwed everything up. It was supposed to just send the link back out to you again, but I guess it's just a reminder that it's coming up, so I won't do that again because a couple of people couldn't find the original email after I sent that one out. So thank you for being here. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, 1 o'clock. We'll send out a fresh reminder, and we're going to continue on with our high security, so you're going to have to logging each time. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
All right.
Wonderful as usual.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Great class.
Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.
All right.
You're still sharing screen, Michael.
Yep.
There you go.